It's beginning to look a lot like Kizer here at Knife Center, at least on this episode of the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves. I got them right here in front of me, including a bunch of Kizers as mentioned. Let's get right into it. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here. Welcome to the show. Apologies in advance if I get a little bumbly through this episode. One thing they don't tell you when you have kids is you might not get any sleep the night before. I'm running on less than 2 hours right now, so I'm awake. I'm still here.
I haven't noticed any difference yet.
Listen, don't you start with me, man. We're gonna start with an exclusive, actually. A new exclusive from North Mountain Blades. North Mountain Blade. This is called the KickStop Chop. It is a variant of their Chop series folders, and it is called the KickStop Chop because it features the Lee Williams designed KickStop mechanism, which is, by all outside appearances, when it is in the closed position, just a normal flipper tab. But this tab is actually not connected to the blade itself. It can move independently. So let's see, yeah, see? Yeah. It will operate, however, or you open the blade just the same way, like a standard flipper tab, or like a standard flipper knife, but the flipper tab stays out here on the back. So you have a very clean presentation, or can use this mechanism to create a very clean presentation on the front side, which is what they've done here with the KickStop Chop. Price on this is $130. Blade is 3 3/4 inches long, words, with an SLD Magic blade. Yes, I know, that sounds ridiculous, but it is a cool blade material. It is a high carbon tool steel at the core with now I can't remember if it's stainless layers on the outside.
Probably is.
With other layers on the outside. So it is a triple laminated or sanmai style of construction. It's also got really cool finishing going on. They call it a hamon finish. It is not an actual hamon, which can only be achieved by, heat treating certain steels a particular way. But between the lamination line, which you get there, and the 3 different types of finishes on the blade, you get that hamon finish. The whole blade is blasted, first of all. Then the flats here are satin finished, satin ground, or satin sanded. And then the edge and a little bit of the way up is buffed to a higher polish. So you get a really cool level of detail going on that finish. It's very cool. And the fit and finish overall is exceptionally good. The blade is like nice and perfectly feeling in terms of doneness. So a good medium rare.
Excellent.
We've got a fluted G10 handle, black and orange G10, as you can see. Fills the hand too. Look how wide it is right there. Yeah, definitely could get a lot of work done with this knife. Hollow ground here at the back, so the thickness behind the edge is kept thin, but flat ground at the tip for more durability and strength. Single position pocket clip here on the back side and a hidden lanyard attachment point. $130. Really nice knife for the money. Next up, we have a new version of the Invictus from Terrain 365. This is featuring their dendritic cobalt blade material, as is common amongst this model, which is very high edge retention. It is not steel, basically. It's a very exotic material going on. Glow-in-the-dark thumb stud tips right there, which is always cool. And this is the first I've seen them using this type of mechanism. It is a button-based pivot, or a pivot-based button in terms of the locking of the blade. And interestingly, and I've not yet been able to figure out what mechanism is causing this, when you push down on the button, this liner-looking thing goes up, or in opposing directions, see? What's going on there, huh? I don't know.
Holy liner locks, Batman.
Holy reverse liner locks in a way. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. The implementation is really smooth too. You can do the flick closed, keeping your fingers out of the blade path, which is always nice. Flick open if you like, or you can just use the thumb studs, of course. The rest of the handle is machined titanium, and I always kind of think of this as sort of a modernized, kind of gentlemanly tactical Barlow type of thing. That's the kind of ballpark I always feel with this. It's got a little bit of like Terzola in the blade shape in inspiration as well, one might say. So I think I will. Milled pocket clip, pretty darn deep carry, lanyard attachment point at the back. It's just really nice. And the action on it is very, very satisfying, I gotta say. Nice and clean too. Because of that and the way they build it, there's no screws visible from the front side. Very clean, very nice. All right, now we have an automatic from American Bladeworks. I may be wrong about this, but this may be the first auto. See, my brain fog is catching up to me. Now I think I'm wrong by saying that. I don't remember. I'm sorry, folks.
It was foggy yesterday.
It was foggy yesterday. It seeped in. There you go. You got an automatic blade on the Model 3. And as you can see from this one right here, it is a first production run. You can see it inside the handles right there. This one's number 107. Not sure how many are in the first production run, nor do I know how many we have on the shelf that are the first production run, or if all of the ones we have on the shelf are the first production run. So I can't guarantee you're gonna get this, in other words. That's what I'm saying. But you might. Blade is 3.3 inches long, sheep's foot profile. You've got magna cut steel, so it's stainless, tough, and holds an edge. It's pretty much the most well-rounded steel on the market right now. And you've got the micro milling lines essentially from their CNC process that give it a little bit of texture actually. Not as much texture as like a powder coat that you might find on like some like classic carbon steel survival knives. It's less than that, and I don't know, it feels really satisfying, quite honestly. I bet you that's going to help actually with some material release for some particular wet materials particularly. Conjecture here on my part. I haven't actually used this blade. Milled pocket clip, US made, as you could imagine. The action's not like wrist snapping. It works perfectly reliably, don't get me wrong. But I was expecting maybe a little bit more of a kick than I actually got. Interesting. Really nice.
Like one of those soft closed drawers.
Those are really satisfying though. $299 for this knife. And I'm gonna go out of order just a little bit here real quick because there's another brand that, like American Bladeworks, is doing really cool stuff in relatively smaller volumes here in the States, and also using magna cut steel in this case. The Bradford kitchen knife, the chef's knife, in fact. Here it is. Ooh, interesting pricing on that compared to what we just looked at. $260 for this. It is a 7 3/4 inch magna cut blade. Nice and thin, very acute near the tip, and a cool shape to the G10 handles right there. Very narrow out here towards the neck, which is perfect for that pinch grip. The handles, the weight is a little bit biased towards the handle, but not so much that it gets to be unwieldy. It's just a little bit back there. And I really like the feel of the landing on the cutting board here. It's not a clunky type of drop to the board, which is gonna be real nice for long-term comfort as you use the knife. Cleanliness, we're bolt-on handles here, so you can remove that to keep them clean. If you're worried about bacteria getting in there, the option is there, unlike, say, a triple riveted, German-style knife with permanently attached handles. So you got that option right there. Quality's good. We got stone-washed finish, so it's gonna look good for a long time. It comes with a leather scabbard right here, which I'm gonna make a joke and say it's ambidextrous because you could go in either way. More amusing in my tired head, guys, sorry. Really cool, man. Cool materials, US made chef's knife. And honestly, the price is not that out of bounds either. When you consider, I always like to compare stuff like this to the Wusthof Icon, which has, permanently attached handles, much, much simpler steel, thicker, chunkier overall than this more fine-tuned instrument. And that sits at around $200 these days. So there you go. Check out the Bradford. All right, next up, we got the bulk of the releases today are from Kizer, as mentioned earlier, and WE Knife Company and their sub-brands CIVIVI and Sencut. So we'll start with the WE stuff. The first is the Starlash. And at first blush, this looks like, you know, the sort of thing you might expect from Knife Company, from some of their premium frame lock flippers, for example. Big blade, titanium handles, flipper tab. But if I turn this over, you will see no lock. A lock not where you would expect anyway. It's not a frame lock, it's not a liner lock. This is the Starlash, if I didn't mention it before, and this features the flip press lock. It's like a flipper lock itself. Watch this. Take the flipper tab or the nubbin, push it in, and then it is unlocked. Watch it pop out. Then it's in locked position. That is the Starlash. It flips. I won't say it flips as well as, you know, a liner or frame locking Wii. There's not really that much of a detent at all, I would say. So I find myself wanting to put a little bit of wrist into it. Otherwise, it's a little bit on the weaker side. Part of it is it's a big blade. But yeah, there you go. The Starlash, this one. Well, the prices start at $357 for some of the milled inlay, quote unquote, options. This one has an actual inlay, and it is aluminum foil carbon fiber, front and back, coming in $386 and some change, and the most expensive one is like $433 with some different finishes going on. Feels good in the hand though. Has a nice beefy handle. It's not too thin, and the edges are rounded over nicely so that it nestles in a rather confidence-inspiring type of grip. Blade is not so thick that it's going to be super wedgy though. You've got a real nice cutting geometry to the blade. Next up from Wii, we have the Collinear. Wii has the Collinear, and you can have it too if you want. These start at $335, and I believe, yes, this is the least expensive version here in my hands. Blade is 3.67, M390, kind of clipped off sheep's foot blade profile going on. And what I love about it is this kind of diamond shaped cross section, because mid-height up the blade, you've essentially got a big swedge going back towards the spine. It gives you that really cool, really hydrodynamic profile. You know, takes away a lot of drag from the spine if you're cutting through anything on a curve like so. That's really cool. Titanium handles. Like the Invictus from earlier, no like obvious screw hardware from the front. You do have the pivot, of course, which technically is a screw in this case, but nothing else. And that's because the end cap here is where the screws reside. We've got two titanium halves meeting in the middle and then secured by this cap that slots in, screws down, and that second screw also secures the pocket clip right there. And that that pocket clip has an integrated lanyard spot if you're the type of person who likes to put a fob on your blade. Pretty neat execution going on. The flipper sticks straight up, and the action is kind of typical Wii. Maybe a little pokey here at the back for the way I typically hold a flipper tab knife, but hey, that's fine. That's just what it is, I guess. Really clean aesthetics too. I love the kind of real straight line nature of the whole thing. Very dwarven inspired, aka Art Deco, perhaps. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago. Them dwarves, man. And how about this for the transition? We'll go from the straight line to the curvy, maybe a more elvish inspired design here. This is from CIVIVI. This is called the Outlaw Muk. And it is sort of what you would get if you take my favorite blade pattern, the Muk, and gave it a bit of a kind of straight edged drop to the spine as opposed to an actual curved drop point. So it's almost like a straight clip point, but you still have a bit of a hump back here.
Clip Muk.
I'm not sure what I want to call it. It's a modified, we say modified Muk. I could get behind that for sure. But you've got that. Well, yeah, sort of. You've got that sort of S curve, typical of especially the more traditionally inspired Muk shape, which is very nice. You've got a button style plunge lock right here at the front. Gives you finger safe closing action. The action on the open with that flipper tab is really nice as well, as we would expect from a CIVIVI product, of course. This one is about under 64 bucks. We've got 14C28N for the blade steel, 3.5 inches long, black and white G10 for the handles. Other flavors start at about 62. We've got black licorice, orange dreamsicle, and some kind of green, I don't know, winter green.
Let's say key lime.
No, it's definitely not a key lime. It's not that sort of hot.
Well, I'm not with the one with the laptop.
There's a green G10, an orange G10, and a teal green G10, orange G10, and black G10. There you go. Those are your options. Fits the hand pretty nicely. You've got the drop thanks to that S-curve and all of that belly to work with. Very typical Muk faction right there. Deep carry pocket clip here on the right side. It is reversible for left or right carry, which is good because that button lock will work just as well for a lefty. I promise. Evidence notwithstanding. There you go. Always happy to see mucky folders or mucky anything, quite honestly, because it's my jam. Next up, new version of the Yonder. Zach Whitmore design from CIVIVI. 57 bucks. I think just the same as the standard model. That's 50. I can't read. Yeah, it's pretty much the same price as the original. 2.9 inch blade, 14C 28N steel here as well. Very thin on the blade stock. This is a razor of a blade for sure. Red G10 is kind of the new thing. Cinnamon flavor. It is the holidays after all. Maybe we should call it peppermint flavor.
I know it's reverse Santa.
Or a spay point in this place. In this place, that's what we're gonna call it.
Smell that coat?
Man. It's a good knife for a broad swath of people, quite honestly. The blade shape is very useful. It's a good size to take just about anywhere. The handle is not restrictive. It's about a 3 to 3.5 finger grip for me. If I want to get a full grip on it, I can certainly choke up around that finger guard, and I can get a full push when needed. Reversible deep carry pocket clip rounding things out, and of course the crossbar lock. And I'm pleased to say this is the second, or at least the second in successive Yonder releases that have stiffer springs than the first batch of releases, which I felt were maybe a little bit on the weak side. This feels much more dialed in. Good on them. And another crossbar lock from CIVIVI and one from Sencut to follow these up. This is the Noctis. We've got a 2.98 inch Nitro V blade, straight backed spine essentially, but we've got a full flat grind, and again, crazy thin blade stock. Maybe not crazy, it's not like insanely crazy, like thin, but it is a very, it definitely is on the thinnest side of what you would expect from a folder this size. I've got the canary yellow version right here. There's also black and kind of an olive green. There's also a Damascus blade option with the Gaborsha wood handles, but you don't get the Nitro V in this case. Nitro V is pretty cool stuff. Handle here, kind of like the Yonder, is about a 3.5 finger grip for me, but again, choking up for a full 4 fingers is very doable. It sits just at the right spot for that sort of thing. You got the crossbar lock, you got the thumb studs to back it up as another option. Yeah, another great ambidextrous thing. Deep carry pocket clip with reversibility, ambidextrous crossbar lock, dual thumb studs. Really nice option for righties or lefties. As is this Sencut right here. This knife is called the Glenspar. Full size, 3.5 inch blade here. The steel is 9CR series stainless, and the price on this one is $48. If you don't care about the black coated, you can get orange for about $45.90. There's also a black shredded G10, which is rather interesting, about just under $47. Blade is this straight clip point shape with a swedge and a nice continual curve to the blade right there, which is going to feel really satisfying in longer slices, especially. Handles, micarta on this one. Full 4 finger grip for me, definitely plenty of real estate for my slightly larger than average hands. Reversible deep carry clip. You don't get, like the Noctis or the Yonder, you don't get an inset clip, but you do have flush head screws and a very thin plate to worry about at the bottom. Shouldn't really cause any real snagging issues. Action is good. You can open it with the thumb studs as well. You could do the reverse flick too quite easily, thanks to the word I said a minute ago, fuller on that blade.
You mean the blood groove?
Don't start with me. You know I'm
The
tired.
second time I'm not starting with you.
Better hope I'm awake enough to not lose my grip on the knife.
I've been through work this stuff before.
Man, high flat grind on that blade too. Just, you know, in sort of like, almost like boringly typical CIVIVI and Sencut fashion, they're excellent knives. Everything just works. No drama. It's great. Let's move on to the Kizer stuff, shall we? The first is, you know, the new evolution or the next stage of the Sheepdog knife, which I think the Sheepdog and the Gemini from Kizer are kind of the two designs that really put them on the map and honestly paved the way for companies like we and CIVIVI that followed up in subsequent years. But we have the utility blade versions of the Sheepdog, the UT1 and the UT2. There's the add-on at the end. These start at about $43. There's a Christmasified version with some ornaments on the handle for about $50. Like the UT Bear, the Drop Bear versions or Drop Bear utility knife things they put out, there are the 1 and the 2 denote the blade change mechanisms. There are 2. You have a toolless changer right here, and that is the UT2. The UT1 has these 2 screws with cross head fasteners here, and it's not a Phillips head, which should actually make it a little bit easier if you're out and about somewhere and don't have a dedicated screwdriver on you. You could twist those with an improvised turner, essentially. Actually, let me. I may have just discovered something. Let's see. So we got toothpick and tweezers in on the back side. The toothpick here has a rather wide section here at the top. I wonder if I could turn. No, I'm flexing the handle too much. I was wondering if maybe the toothpick could be used to turn that, but it does not seem to be the case. C'est la vie. The UT2 is going to be easier to do on the go, and I'm finding this iteration here is fairly easy to use. I remember on the toolless blade change option on the Drop Bear, it was a little finicky. It wasn't quite working as smoothly as I might have liked. I am pleased to say that is not the case with this one. I promise you. This one works, I think, very, very well. No matter which one you pick, you've got the button actuated compression style lock, or the top liner lock as they call it, which gives you, finger safe closing action, righty or lefty usage, which is quite nice, and good flicking action when you want to open it as well, thanks to the strength of the detent on that mechanism. Toothpick and tweezers in the handle, as mentioned. This is a G10 version. Micarta is also available, and you've got a reversible deep carry clip on there, keeping this good for righties or lefties as well. Take your pick. The handle works really nicely. I've got 3.5 fingers there. Plenty of space to choke up and get a true 4-finger grip on that, 4 fingers plus, quite honestly, and really put that blade to use. 5 replacement blades also included in the packaging. There you go, check them out. This next one is also a Sheepdog, and in a way feels even more of a departure from the standard Sheepdog, which has a cleaver style blade. This kind of has the same vibe, but this drop point blade version is something very new feeling as a result of the change in blade. And this is a limited edition Christmas season knife, $140. 3-inch S45 VN blade, and crystallized titanium handles. A lot of value for money, quite honestly, right here. The action on the clutch lock, which is what they call their version of the crossbar lock, is quite good, but if you're not happy with it, you can adjust it. There are 5 holes on the inside where you can move the end of the Omega spring to either tighten or loosen it up. Because I believe they usually set these up right in the middle from the factory. Honestly, I've always been pretty darn happy with that.
So Sheepdog just done a lot of cardio.
I guess. More aerodynamic. Bred for speed.
Like a greyhound.
It's a sheephound.
Gray sheep.
Gray sheep, something like that. It's pretty cool. I like the drop point shape to it too. It gives it a whole kind of new spin on life. I wonder if they're going to continue that across on more standard models as opposed to just the limited edition. I guess time will tell. Next up, we have the Tycho. A handful of different versions of this are available. 2 blade shapes. We have, excuse me, a drop point and a clip point going on. We're flat ground on the drop point. We're a high hollow grind on, we're flat ground on the drop point and a high hollow on the clip. There we go. We got there. We've also got S45 VN. Oh, this is interesting. There's S45 VN and M390 available as choices. I'll just let you go to the site and see which ones are available with which, because it doesn't necessarily line up with blade finish or handle combinations all the time. Price starts at $160, just under $160 for this version right here, actually. Blade is 3.13 inches. Almost a drop bear inspired blade shape. Very successful Kizer model. Inlays on the front. What kind of wood is this actually? It is Mukuruti wood. I'm familiar with that. And titanium handles. It's thin enough in the pocket, but long enough for slightly bigger cuts. This would be I would consider this like a full-size gentleman's knife right here. Despite the crossbar lock, it is kind of left or right hand biased. The clip is not reversible in this case, and the thumb stud here is just a single thumb stud. Although you may be able to unscrew it and move it around, I'm not sure. It looks like a kind of a ball detent almost here on the back side. Not that it's operating as any sort of detent, of course, but interesting nonetheless. Fairly deep carry clip, inset with flush head screws, or they're screws sticking up just slightly, but they are flat topped, which should work pretty nicely. This version right here features M390 and is only a little bit more expensive, about $180, which you get this instead. Titanium handles as well, carbon fiber inlays with a shred pattern going on. Again, action is quite good, but you can adjust it as desired if you want. And what this reminds me of, Thomas may not get this, but it's sort of a, you may. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know until you bring it up.
No, I don't want to. I'm going to do it. It almost feels like a cross between Kizer's Drop Bear and something like Boker's Excalibur series, quite honestly. That's what I'm feeling right there. I like it. The only my only critique on it would be maybe I would like to see it ground all the way through the edge here instead of stopping right there. Like you would find on the Sheepdog right here. Cool knives, cool knives. I like the shape. Same critique on this next knife, quite honestly. This is, where's my tab? The Aegis, which, interesting, that's a name of a SOG knife as well. Many versions of this can also be had. I say many, how many is it actually? 4.
That's a many.
That's a many. Starts at $60 with an AEBL blade and micarta handles. This version right here features aluminum and it comes in just under $80. There is also an aluminum handled version without the blade coating for $70, and also for $80 you could get a Damascus blade with G10. That's pretty cool. Blade here is about 2.8 inches long. Simple usable drop point. You've got 2 sections of jimping, one for thumb, one for forefinger if you want to get out there with the tip. Nice and thin on the blade stock with a high flat grind. Not as thin as those CIVIVIs from earlier, but plenty thin. Reversible deep carry pocket clip right here, mostly deep carry. In a way, this almost feels similar to like the Kizer original, quite honestly, even though now they have an original 2 as well. What are you gonna do? Crossbar lock, it's good. Toothpick and tweezers in the back end, just like some of these other Kizers. They're rolling that out kind of widespread across the line right now. Pretty cool smaller EDC. All right, next up, let's get it over with. We got some front flippers.
Yeah, we has to.
The Feist 2, available in 3 different blade shapes. These are $170 with 2.8-inch M390 blades and titanium handles. We have a clip point, a
Reverse tanto.
maybe I should open it all the way. What do they call it? They call it a reverse tanto on the side. And a hawkbill blade shape. I want to hold the hawkbill because that's the most interesting to me, anyway.
Reverse trailing point.
Have it your way, Thomas. Why not? I can't stop you anyway. If you weren't aware, this is a Justin Lundquist design, and it is a front flipper, and it is only a front flipper, which means I have to front flip a knife. Let's see. Let's try. Yeah, see, that's why front flippers and I are not the greatest of friends, but hey, there we go. We got it. Quality is real good. Don't take that at all to be, you know, any knock against the knife. That's just me and front flippers in general. I really like the back end treatment right here. You've got this, you know, suggestion of a connection point right here. It's not actually there. You've just got kind of 2 tabs meeting almost in the middle. It's just a nice visual thing. It's a little bit different. It's pretty cool. Frame lock for security. The hawkbill here especially, this would be like a cardboard destroyer for sure. It's plenty thin enough to do that. Plenty of edge retention from the M390 as well. Milled titanium pocket clip. What more do you want to know? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. It's good. That's good. Next up, speaking of the drop bear, the first of the larger drop bear fixed blades has finally arrived. This is the drop bear fix 3. So obviously this is not a huge knife. The blade itself is about 3.8 inches long. A fair amount of that is taken up by this unguarded finger choil here at the back, which is a little bit small for my finger size, but I think that can kind of be spoken about the same way for this whole knife. It's got just enough handle for me, but it's not like a roomy handle. I would say if you have you know, average or smaller hands in general, this is going to be a perfect fit for you. If your hands are larger or even just slightly larger than average, like myself, I wear a, you know, size large to extra large glove depending on the company, you might want a little bit more. That said, it is very comfortable, and like I said, it offers just barely enough grip for me. I could see this being a budget alternative to something like the ESEE 3. It gives you kind of a similar size feeling. It's not quite ESEE 4 feeling in my mind here, although I don't have one here to show you, just trust me. More contouring going on though. The micarta feels really good. You've got a little bit of protruding pommel here at the back for bashing on stuff. Full flat grind, not too thick or thin. Just a good general purpose outdoors fixed blade, I would say. 1095 carbon steel with a powder coating. Kind of the classic, you know, Becker and ESEE recipe, quite honestly. It's interesting to see them taking on that format, which is pretty cool. Big screws. Big hardware there, holding things down and with pass-throughs so you can do like survival spear lashing stuff if you wanted to. But yeah, like smaller survival knife, a bushcrafter, a hunter, just a general camp knife, it's gonna work really, really well. Kydex sheath, slim dots style attachment right there, which means Tech-Lock hole spacing on here if you want to put something else on there instead of this. Get the picture? I hope so. It's cool. All right, 2 more. Let's go biggest for today. From ESEE Knives, this is the from the Expat series, the El Deguello. Spanish word means slashing of the throat. It's
a big neck.
Don't let the jury know. It also has sort of a figurative meaning, however, of like no quarter, like no mercy given, that sort of thing. And could we extrapolate that to mean like no apologies? This is certainly a knife that, or machete that makes no apologies. It's just under $100. You got an almost 13-inch blade, 1075 tough carbon steel. Wide here at the towards the tip, giving you a little bit more weight forward, which should enhance that hit when you use this to chop. Because this is not just like a grass slashing machete. This could do some heavier hits in some hardwood when the situation calls for it. You've got a convex edge for durability. You've got a micarta handle here, a very neutrally shaped handle, but with a little bit of a downward curve. Especially when you combine that with all of this weight near the tip, you can really hit pretty hard. And actually, as I'm looking at it, this almost gives you a kukri-esque, blade presentation angle when you're hitting with it. That's kind of cool. And it feels really good. These are made in El Salvador. If you're knowledgeable, you might infer that this is made by the same in the same factory that the Condor knives are made in, and you would be correct. We got a crisp spine for striking a fire steel or scraping tinder or any other sort of scraping tasks. We have a nylon sheath here with an open spine with snaps to make extraction doable for such a broad blade. It should be pretty cool, you guys. And let's go from biggest to smallest, and then that'll be it for today. We have from Skallywag Tactical the Mini Mark II. There it is. It's got a 2-inch blade, 420 series stainless, and it is $25 with G10 handle. So quite affordable, not a set the world on fire, exciting steel selection, but again, $25. Keep that in mind. Good thing to have this time of year, actually. Could be a good stocking stuffer or affordable gift for folks. Comes with a Kydex neck sheath right here for the neck carry like that. Comes with the breakaway ball chain, as you could see. Haven't checked to see if it's compatible with any sort of belt attachment, which kind of be funny in a way. You could certainly use a CIVIVI T-clip, thanks to the slots right here. Ulti clips would work. Let's see if a small tech lock would work. Small tech locks have been unfortunately discontinued, but a lot of people still have them. And it appears as though it's not quite lined up with a small tech lock. Don't let that hold you back though. That's a cool little blade. Should be pretty useful, like the, what knife? Like that one.
Or the other one.
Am I thinking of something that's not on the table right here? I very well might be.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like a knife that I'm thinking about that I didn't talk to you about earlier in this video.
The knife in the room with us now.
We've got a little bit of a downward angle to the blade, and especially I've always felt on smaller blades that can be very important for actually using the tip for utility type stuff, because you're having to bend your wrist less to really get to the blade, especially when you're close up to something. That's a nice thing. Black, tan, or Uti style green are available for your finishes. There you go. Cool little utility cutter. And that is all we've got for today, folks. Thanks for sticking around. Let me know what you thought of the knives down in the comments, and of course, to get your hands on one of them for yourself, links in the description. If Thomas does his job right, he will. I have faith.
I do my job.
You do. You do.
It only runs into a problem when I'm not here.
And that's it for today, folks. Let me know what you thought of the knives and use the links in the description to grab one for yourself. In addition to our long-running Knife Rewards program, we're now accepting Apple Pay, and we've also got Sezzle as a payment option if you want to break things up into more manageable chunks. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we are signing off. See you next time.